Hello, my name's Chris Quickfall. I'm founder, chief exec of a company called Cognassist. We're a neuro-inclusion SaaS business for L&D teams to be able to support the cognition across the broad range of their employees in their workforce. So, with regards to cultural inclusion and the shifts that we're beginning to see, I think we've gone through a period where neurodiversity was relatively unknown into one where neurodiversity is really common language. But what we're seeing now on the backlash from Trump's DEI approach is that we're really starting to have to change language and sort of restructure and reposition it into thread it into activities and investments that the business is already taking. So for instance, where DEI initiatives quite often were standalone, what we're seeing is that organizations have to proactively thread them into their investment initiatives. So they become more intertwined with the objectives of the business, which is, if you think about it, is really where they should be. When we're looking to support every neurodivergent individual within an organization, one of the questions we often come around is, well, does everybody know about how the way that they think and learn? Is everybody self-aware? So the best solution here is to make sure that you have tools available to every employee in the organization, and that these tools are free and accessible to use to every single person. They're not restricted to certain cohorts or just to certain departments. Make sure they're fully available and you have broad coverage across the organization, because no organization truly knows which individuals are going to benefit and which individuals aren't. So it's best just to make them fully available. I think that's critically important in making sure that you really do have a proactive inclusion environment. So when we're talking about advocacy of individuals with neurodifferences, one of the most critical aspects for an organization to deploy is making sure that everybody can ask and has the agency to be able to ask for flexibilities and adjustments. They don't have to disclose the reason for asking, and it doesn't single them out as someone that's different or special or unique for the purposes of asking. And if we think about ultimately why is an organization wanting to make these adjustments, it's to increase productivity by removing barriers that are limiting that productivity. So why wouldn't we do that for everybody and not just those that have a label or don't have a label? Let's just remove the barrier, full stop. I work with a company called Cognassist, and we've mapped around about 500,000 people's cognition. So it's one of the largest cognitive data sets on Earth. And what we've been able to evidence is that it's very, very rare for somebody to be neurotypical. We define that as one standard deviation from the mean of a mean brain. Now, what we're starting to see is it's much more common for people to have really reasonably moderate strengths and weaknesses. So every organization needs to cater for this diversity of human cognition and coming away from the label and starting to look at, well, how are you processing the world around you? What are your strengths and weaknesses? And what can we do and what can you do to really optimize your performance is the best thing to be able to target cognitive diversity. Make sure that we're introducing flexibilities. Managers are aware of flexibilities and that L&D departments can put the right flexibilities in the right training materials to make sure that everybody's accommodated no matter their cognitive preference or cognitive profile. So at Cognassist, we're an NiB corporate member. And one of the critical benefits are that we really get to speak to other organizations and understand the challenges and the problems that they're facing, boots on ground, real practically, on how do they implement neuro-inclusion practices across a broad and a large workforce. And the more that we can understand those challenges, the more that we can design the solutions to meet those needs. So that's the real gold nugget that we get from our membership with NiB. Reframing would be my word for this conference, because with Trump's DEI changes, what we're seeing is a complete reframing of how we implement neuro-inclusion across organizations, large and small. And this conference has been really good on giving people tactical plans to do that in reality, in practice.